All right, it's 7 o'clock. We can go ahead and call the Charter Review Committee meeting to order. First item on the agenda is approval of meeting minutes from July 22nd, 2026. We have a motion.
I have a motion to amend.
We have a second.
Okay. Page 3. I think it's like 8 lines down. It says Mr. Clark should be Mr. Walsh. You got renamed, James. So that's one. And then the other amendment is on page 4. I think it was like 11 lines down. Google from should be Google form. And also in that same line, but on the second line of that, removing emails and because we didn't have anything to do with sending emails out. Those are my amendments. I sent them to Debbie already.
I'll second those amendments. Fine with me. So we have a motion for amendments on page 3 and amendments on page 4.
Correct.
So that is changing Mr. Clark to Mr. Walsh. Google from. And on that same line that says Google from, it should be Google form. That same line, not same sentence. The very next sentence to remove the word emails.
Emails and.
Emails and.
I mean, so yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right. We have to do roll call vote because we are online. Mr. Clark, Mr. Walsh.
Yeah. Although I liked my pseudonym, but yes.
Why can't we see Mark?
You may not have his camera. Mr. Aldi. Yes. Yes. Ms. Walsh.
Miss Marshall.
Marshall. Clark. Well, yeah.
Like we're all over the place. Yes.
Yes.
Deep at these lines. Mr. Diaz. Yes. And I'm yes. What do we got? 1, 2, 3.
Still on
7.
station.
Yeah, 7. 7 in favor, none opposed. Motion passes. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? The minutes. So second for approval. Any discussion? All right. Seeing none. Mr. Diaz. Yes.
Yes.
You could say
Ms. Marsh.
yes.
Mr. McKinnon. Yes. Mr. Ivaldi. Yes. Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So it's unanimous. Motion passes. Minutes are approved. Right. My laptop is bogging down, so give me just a minute. Going old school. Yeah, there we go. Item C, public comment. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak? Mark.
Nope, just observing. Thank you.
Just want to make sure we're not missing anything. We're still learning the technology here.
Is the third person you on you?
That's us.
No worries.
All right. Items for discussion. First up is overview of the first 2 community forums. I'm just going to scoop myself because I'm right. So, just looking at the first 2 forums, what has gone right? What has gone wrong? What can we do better? Just kind of wanted to throw this out there as just a conversation about our community conversations.
The one thing I would recommend, and we've talked about it at the meeting on Monday, is just promoting it a lot, spamming it on Facebook every day, because there are a few people there that said they didn't even see it. did say they see it, but need to see if we can get the town to post it on a launch too, because I mean, you would think more people showed up. I don't know about the first meeting because I wasn't there, but the second.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
I was at the first, not the second. How many did we have on that?
Seven,
Seven.
or eight.
Really? So a
That
little bit less than the
includes
first one.
counselors.
Yeah.
And a couple of people that were at the first one
Yeah.
showed up at the second.
One thing that was interesting to me, and I think both of us were surprised, but we thought it was interesting, that some people were expressing that they thought we should do manual notices of the meeting, like put something on a bulletin board in Roach Brothers, or put something at different places physically, like in the library, this and that.
The hard boards that are
Yeah.
throughout town.
I also wonder if, if you're not on Facebook and you have never seen the charter, if we just send out meeting notices, if they have any idea what our meeting is about either. I wonder if there could be like even more of a explanation of why they might be interested in coming.
Hmm.
That but I did find it really interesting that some people wanted an actual manual notice.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Social media wasn't as prominent as we had anticipated.
I mean, we did design the times and locations to try to capture as many different demographics throughout town as possible. So far, we have not achieved that.
Mhm.
You guys 100% did do that properly. When it comes to the times and all that, I thought we would have had a good bigger outcome. You have the morning, the first one that I missed, and then the afternoon, and then hopefully the Saturday, we'll get at least 20 people.
I would imagine
Yeah.
Saturday will draw a different crowd. I think so.
Yeah.
Is that this Saturday, right?
No, the 12th of September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of it was August. I think a lot of people are away. Obviously, the other night was the baseball thing.
Yeah.
So that,
Yeah.
so I'm, maybe what we do is we do 2 in September. I know you only have one planned, but maybe we do 2 in September. Now that people are, school's back, people are back kind of in the normal flow of life. So,
Well, I half jokingly said to Ed, we should probably do one at Barrett's. And then the more I thought about it, I actually think that's a pretty good idea for getting people to show up.
Yeah, we can do it at Barrett's.
back when-
Yeah, the back room at Barrett's, if they'd be willing to have us. Have, good Lord, get a couple folks in there with some drinks and we will hear. And I guess we're going to see what
Put a
they're
bucket a
thinking.
couple hours.
You'd be
for
losing
that.
control.
So we're doing that like Friday at 10 p.m., something like that.
guys, go ahead and do that. I do think you have good times, the times that you originally selected.
Yeah.
Well, and choosing different times. But I was very surprised when I heard about what a manual notice.
Yeah.
But that was informative. I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of informed us that some people are not on Facebook at all. So,
And the town's website can be difficult to navigate.
yeah.
One thing too that I think it was Francis.
And Jeffords.
Yes. I was chatting with her after and she mentioned that maybe making the flyer look a little bit more exciting, like it's very corporate right now. And it doesn't really draw people to it. And so we were kind of chatting about that after, and maybe I'll take another stab at kind of just giving it a new life for the September ones once we kind of nail down if we do Barrett's or not.
I thought you did an awesome job. So.
Thank you. I know, well, it's it's what draws the eye. So
Yeah.
it is a little bit more simple and gets lost. Like we were looking at the library bulletin board and I honestly was like, where is it? So there was a lot of other ones that kind of are more eye catching.
It's interesting. I thought it was really good too. In its original form, but I'm wondering if you have to find a reason for them to attend. Like something that they'll understand why they're going to this meeting. I mean, there's a lot of town meetings, so it's not always easy to understand.
Yeah.
You know, you have to kind of pick and choose. You can't go to them all.
Yeah, you
So,
have to, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. If they have to have a reason
yeah,
to want to engage with us.
Well, do we think, because we've made it pretty clear at this point, and I know we're still kind of getting the message out that, you know, our objective is not to change the form of government. And that might be why we're losing people. I mean, if you look on Facebook where we've been kind of pushing it out and trying to gather people, those people are focused on changing the form of government, and they just might feel like, why am I even showing up? Because that's not what their objective is. I don't know, it's just another take.
well, you know, I'm wondering, I was thinking, you know, I know my objective being on this group is because I want to help empower the residents of Bridgewater. That is my sole objective. So I wonder if we put something out that you know, talks about resident empowerment, something like that, that would catch their attention. You know, just like, you know, something that says, you know, by getting involved and help influence. I mean, you can't put a long statement. You have to put a short statement. I'm not sure what that is. But I do think, you know, something that's very focused on them and how this can help them. But you have to do it in short. I mean, I can try to run for voice. But you have to find a way to do that
Yeah.
in a short
I'm
format
fine.
that catches their attention.
Yeah, I think, you know, Lindsay said she would go back and try again with the flyer. I'm perfectly content letting her just run with it. I think she's done a great job so far. If everybody's in agreement with that,
I agree with
don't
it.
have an issue.
Yeah.
It's a lot of trust.
I mean, the thing is, we can do as much as we can to try and market this thing, but people lead busy lives, and when they hear about the charter, where does that fall in their whole list of things? So I think we're going to be, you know, the reality is we're not going to have this many people as we want, but we just go with what we have. So, you know, do what we can. I do like the idea of ballots.
Mhm.
My only concern is losing control. Yeah, that would be, you know.
Yeah.
Also, I wonder if there's any kind of liability if somebody's trying this group because we were there.
So, they have all kinds of campaigning, you know, meetings up there all the time. So
Sorry. If we did Barrett's, I don't know the protocol on this, but would it be inappropriate for us to ask a detail? To be present, just to help control the crowd, if anything was to get out of hand like that? I mean, if that's what we're worried about, that's a good way to.
I mean, people that just want to talk over, you know, over other people, especially if they're having drinks. Yeah, I mean, Barrett's is going to want to make something out of it.
Yeah.
Normally they charge you a fee, but when, you know, how we would pay the fee, we don't have a budget.
Yeah.
Um,
What about the golf course? There's a room at the golf course.
What about the veterans? Get all of that.
The Vets Club, there's an option. The VFW is a smaller building.
I mean, CPC's at the fire stations, right, for that public space. That's another option.
I think that's a good, because then we can capture, I mean, all the firefighters that are right there. Maybe they'd even come sit down if they're not out running around.
It might give people an excuse that haven't seen the building.
That's.
Yeah,
Check out this building.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
People might want to see the.
it is, it's exciting. It's an exciting, cool new thing.
We've had a couple of pickleball. See, it is a nice facility.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty big room.
Plus, it's a
My idea
different
for
part. of
Barrett's was that it would have people from the town already there that might wander back.
I think there is a draw to the fire station, actually. I really do, because a lot of people haven't seen it. And I like that.
Mhm. I see your point too. But I think if they're gonna charge us, for example,
Well, we don't know for sure.
yeah, we don't know for sure. I can research it and then I can get back to everybody. I mean, I probably have one more meeting and then
Yeah.
we'll have
I
one
mean,
in early September.
realistically, we aimed for three. We'll have three. Maybe, there's nothing stopping us from doing a fourth. If we do a fourth, great. If we don't do a fourth, we can still continue with our mission.
Mhm.
Listen, the community conversations is that it's just one part of this first phase of what we're doing.
I would imagine if Barrett's was willing to donate the room, they would likely not want to do it on a high volume night.
Yeah.
This, right? It's not gonna be a Thursday through Saturday.
No.
Obviously, it'd be a Monday night or something like that.
Right, especially with BSU back in.
I would think so.
Yeah. I'll look into both options.
Yeah.
And I'll get back to the group. We can kind of just talk offline and see.
Yeah, I've mentioned the golf course. I'm just curious what the current agreement is. I know prior to it being handed over to a private management company, that facility was open for use by the town without a fee. It's still town property.
It's just Tron, man. It's just, I think that's the company's
It
name.
would
It's
be
Tron.
interesting to do veterans,
You know,
because you get all the vets.
Mhm.
Just like we did get extra people. Because we're.
now, are you talking about the Vets Club over
Right.
by Legion Field or the
What?
VFW?
No idea. You guys.
Okay, because there's two separate buildings and
Yeah, I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
I'm not a vet. so-
Yeah.
What if we did? I like the idea of going somewhere where people are. I'm curious if you think the format, like, do you think with the format we need to have a kind of auditorium style where people are kind of sitting in for a set period of time? Or do you think maybe we explore like tabling an event? Like I'm thinking, could we table by Roach Brothers? Could we table by, Autumn Fest? I don't know, something where people are. I'm kind of on the fence about it because I know you probably need to give people a lot of context, but maybe that would make it easier for people to drop in, drop out.
Yeah. Autumn Fest would be a great place for the survey
Mhm.
To be what?
to table, to let people know what we're doing, to give them a flyer with like the QR code. Here's the survey. Because you're going to have a lot of, especially with Autumn Fest, at least it used to be a lot of the younger families, younger kids.
It was
I haven't been in years.
End of a brochure that says here's the link.
Yeah.
Does the town have a booth?
I don't think the town has a booth.
Mm.
But it's put on by the
Business association.
yeah,
I
Bridgewater
know
Business.
Mary McGrath had it last year before, I believe, too. So maybe we can incorporate with the town school.
Yeah.
Nick Palmieri used to be on BBA. Do you know who runs it now?
Sure, honestly.
These are all good ideas.
And the
Well,
only
so sorry, go James.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I like the idea too of getting more printed flyers out especially for folks who might not be, online or on social media more specifically. I remember I don't want to speak for Counselor Lindy, but I remember him mentioning too there is a binder, I think, at the library where I'm not sure if it's one or many flyers, but maybe we can put them someplace where people can kind of take them home and, share them with friends and family. Maybe we'll get more of a reach that way too.
I think he made a comment in the chat about this. What did you say, Mark?
Well, but they're not gonna let's keep
Oh, he-
we get the public comment, we
Okay.
can do that.
So
No offense, Mark, but I know you understand because the council has the same rules, so
Mark was just commenting, the message was how we promoted it on Bridgewater, on 2324, Bridgewater residents.
Oh, okay.
So it's not even.
Okay.
so just a summary for this kind of section. I'll work with Debbie about getting them added, or at least the last one that we have so far, to the hardboards outside. I'll work on a new flyer and I'll look to kind of distribute that around to more places. We'll do more email, or not email, I keep saying that, more social media blasts. Especially like the week leading up to the event. And I'll look at different locations, probably gonna focus on Barrett's and the fire station, unless you guys have any objections to that.
No. I think those are good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you mind if you create the new
I will
Slide.
include
over survey and the link and
Yeah.
the little QR code?
with the little QR code, yes.
That was funny at the meeting. Somebody commented they didn't like QR. code.
Yes, it was,
Carlton.
Pearl, yes.
Thanks.
Okay.
Great.
Try different things.
Next up for discussion, Charter Review Committee email address.
I saw that in the meeting. Can I talk?
Yeah.
It's just in the, I asked, put here, because it was there in the first meeting too. People were asking if we had an email address. So hopefully it sounds like it's relatively simple for us to get a town email address that could then have distribution to all of us.
Yeah.
With the caveat that we all have to be mindful of open meeting law. So if we get an email, we'll probably wait to discuss it till we get, I don't know if you want to appoint somebody to actually get back to them, tell them that we received it, or we could individually respond, but we can't respond as,
You can't hit reply.
you can't have, you got everybody on you can't copy it.
Yeah, we have a similar mailbox for my job where citizens can send an email into this one email address, and then from there it automatically forwards out to everybody. And I imagine this would be the same.
Right.
The citizen of Bridgewater sends an email to charterreview@bridgewaterma.org or whatever, and then it comes to all of our email addresses. But if I were to reply to that email, I'd be replying to the charterreview@bridgewaterma, and I would then be replying to all of you, and that would be the open meeting law violation.
Only if you hit reply all.
Well, it's only coming from, if it's when it comes to your email address.
Oh, it's only coming
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah,
So then we just wait to discuss it.
yeah,
Or we have
So-
somebody appointed to say we received this.
yeah. If you're going to reply to that person's email
Yeah.
address.
Yeah, that's what I was,
Yeah,
that was what I was trying to.
that's the key. That's the point I'm trying to
Yeah.
get. Don't reply to the town email address. Reply directly to the person.
Do we want to be opening up that door though, right? So let's say somebody emails that email address, it gets forwarded to all 7 of us. And that leaves potential for all 7 of us to individually reply to that email with our own thoughts and feelings or what have you without it being discussed with the group. I don't know if that's a great idea.
That's actually what happens with the town council. If you email them, there's a central email address. There's also the individuals.
Yeah.
And sometimes 5 people will respond to you individually. Sometimes 1 will, sometimes no one will, So I don't think that is a problem. I mean, if people
Yeah,
respond, or we could just say that we're gonna say that we received the email and we're taking it under advisement or something like that.
Could almost be an auto, could even set up an auto reply that says we received it, we'll be discussing it at our next meeting or something like that.
well, they're not all going to require a discussion.
No, that's true.
I think it's just one of those things where we all have to be professional, and if you choose to respond and I don't, that's fine. If, I choose to respond and you all don't, that's fine. If I want to voice my opinion, if you want to voice your opinion, feel free.
Mhm.
That's the way the town council operates right
Yeah.
now.
Is there any downfall of just appointing one person to receive an email and bringing all of them to the meeting?
I mean, isn't that what I am on anything?
That's right.
Well,
Right.
but the thing is, I think it's good for all of us to hear what people are saying. That's all.
Well, I
Right,
think
but
at
as
the
far as
meeting-
responding, I agree with you. I
Oh.
think it's better to have one person respond, not
Yeah,
the whole group respond. And I think that's the secretary should be doing.
right. So like Brad would be the only person receiving these emails. He can then forward them to us as necessary coming from Brad as he does right now. So that you're aware of it.
It just overcomplicates it.
Yeah,
I don't
If-
think it's necessary.
I just think, to your reference, how the town council operates, you email the entire town council. I just did this within the last week. I think 3 council members responded, but they responded to me individually. And with their own thoughts and comments on what I was discussing. And for me, that's valuable because it gives me the different perspectives.
I agree.
So I think the value to the citizen in hearing Eric's point of view or Jean's point of view and explaining why you voted a certain way, there's value in that.
But the rest of us aren't gonna see the reform.
Right.
I don't know that I
Which
necessarily
is
agree with
fine
that.
because that's what happens with the town council. Nobody else sees it.
But at the same time, we're not the council, right? We are not putting forward when we're done with this, my recommendations, Ed's recommendations, Lindsay's recommendations. We're putting together one group of recommendations that came from all 7 of us that we all agreed on. So realistically, I don't know that there's a better way to say this, but my personal opinion shouldn't be as important to somebody asking a question, right? Like it almost, you don't need to know exactly how I feel about something where the council, people are voting on council members. They have almost a different bar that they need to meet, start sharing with residents and things like that. I don't know that we want to model what we're doing after the council.
I don't totally understand that because we're doing basically the same thing the council is doing, which means we all do have an opinion and then we vote on it. So, by hearing what somebody has to say, hearing that, hearing what you have to say, they're gonna see in a subsequent meeting that you vote one way or another. It's a very similar process. It doesn't mean that your vote's going to carry the whole thing, but they at least know how you are responding to them about what their concern is. I mean, it is, I don't see that it's any different. Because, there's 9 people that I email on a relatively regular basis and I get back various responses from different counselors. And then whatever happens in their meeting, but it's not up to one counselor what's going to happen. And we would never represent that. Even if I feel this way, then that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a vote on everything, just like it is in that meeting. So
I see the need to express each of our independent points of view as being very important. I don't want to have any sort of a gag order from this committee on the members. We all have different perspectives. With that said, the other side of the coin is once we vote on something and it's done and our recommendations on the charter are complete, we have voted. If my point of view lost, the committee voted and that's the voice and we're moving on.
agree.
And that's the way committees function and function well is, okay, I lost that one. I always point to Ed because you and I have disagreed on a couple of things last time around. And I think, the committee agreed with you on some, they agreed with me on others, and you still go play pickleball. And so, that's a good sign. So, I see it as 2 separate issues. Before the vote, interacting with the citizens, one of the biggest complaints we always get is no response, no feedback. And if we funnel everything through Brad, no offense, but it gives that perception. Well, I wrote to the committee and I only heard back from one person.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I have mixed emotions on this. I hear what you're saying, and part of me agrees with you, but I'm also concerned that if I respond back to somebody, give my opinion, next thing I know, it's on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then it just seems
to be in a public body.
I don't know. It just seems to me like We want their questions. I think we want all that because that's going to help us think and process. But each giving our own opinions back to the citizens, to me, raises a red flag to me. I don't know why. I just feel uneasy about it.
I tend to agree, and to my earlier point, I think there's a big difference between us doing that and councilors doing that who are voted by citizens. So
They're elected by the citizens.
elected by the citizens. I tend to agree.
Well, the other part, though, is anything can end up on Facebook. And,
So,
anything can end up on Facebook,
I know.
and recently did. So-
I know, but you don't want to have people saying, well, the CRC is divided on this issue. Gene feels this way, Mr. Ivaldi feels this way. And we're going to open ourselves up to.
Because that's normal. And that's what happens all the time in the council. People have different opinions.
It happens in every public body.
What other committees have group emails?
Pretty much all of them. Like, I know because I emailed a lot of them. So, Conservation Commission, Planning Board, obviously the council.
But does Concom have emails that sends to all of them?
It's where they were distributed by change.
Right, I believe they go to the agent for those boards, and the agent would share them with the members as necessary, similar to what the secretary.
It wasn't as necessary.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Period. It wasn't like you select who you're going to share it with, or share it's necessary unless you share it with all the people. And if they want to respond to you, they can. No, the planning board doesn't respond very often. Conservation Commission doesn't. The counselors do. So.
I could see. Oh, go ahead, James.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think our emails are also, I mean, they were in one of the meeting agendas somewhere. So it is in the public record. So I wonder, if someone really wants to reach out to us, they'll be able to do it. So should we, like, kind of in the interest of just making it easier, like we do make the alias available, and then, we all, like, I think we could maybe just trust everyone's judgment. There's, when you're responding, it's kind of your choice how much you choose to divulge, and we all know the rules. So maybe, personally, I'd be comfortable just kind of leaving it to everyone's professional judgment. But that's just my take.
The other thing too is we really aren't going to get many emails. Did you get any for leading questions up to the?
Not questions, I just got statements.
Oh, you got some statements?
I got one statement of change the form of government.
Okay, so was that the only email that you got? Or?
That was the only thing in the Google form, yeah.
Okay. I was curious.
And I have had citizens find my email address, just as James said, and email me directly with some thoughtful comments, and some I agree with, some I don't agree with. And the value there is I get to engage in a back and forth where I have my own thoughts and opinions, and now they get tested by someone who disagrees with me. And I have to sharpen my thoughts and opinions and perhaps reshape them.
And we haven't heard about those either. So that's the other thing, by going to you, any of us, no matter who it is.
Right. To your point, when it came to Concom and planning, we do already have that with Deb. In a sense, when it comes to an email, that she can distribute it all to us too. So I don't even know if we need a committee email. James had a good point. Scott said how people have reached out to him already. So
well, the one thing that's not happening, there's two things. One is at the meetings, both of the meetings, people commented about how they would like to have a simple way of communicating with us through email.
Yeah.
And they're not perceiving of the way that we're doing it now is simple. They asked us if we had a town email address. The second thing is that, we're not, by the fact that those emails aren't being distributed to all of us, none of us is hearing what Scott is hearing.
anything that I've got, I've distributed to everyone. So we're not getting a lot of emails.
I agree that we're not getting a lot. So, I'm just saying that what we're not, he did get some, and we're not hearing it.
Yeah, well,
So
some people,
by
they just
having-
want Scott's inputs because he's the chair. They
Yeah.
don't care about what the vice chair says or the secretary.
Yeah, well,
It could be someone that knows me.
Exactly, you get what I'm saying.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that by giving them a centralized email address, then all of us can get the email and see what,
Well, not everyone might not want all their opinions.
well, maybe they won't. Then they go back to just emailing Scott. But at least they have a way of distributing it if they want to distribute it. This is way more discussion than. Truthfully.
Careful what you ask for.
But it was relatively.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out how we resolve this. I mean, it
sounds like
sounds like some people don't want, I'm fine if you don't want the email address. But I'm not fine with some committee members telling other committee members they can't respond or have to respond through Brad. That's where my contention comes in.
Yeah.
You know, we should all have the ability to have that conversation with whoever we want to.
I agree.
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
Well, and just to, I don't know if that was directed more towards me, but I was not referring to that in my comment.
No, my comment wasn't directed towards
Okay.
anyone. It was just literally a stream of consciousness coming out of my
Yeah,
brain.
no, that's
Straight up.
fine. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't my intention.
And I do see that I actually hadn't seen the website for our committee since the survey went up, and it does look like Debbie actually did put in this might have already been there. I just don't remember. But if you contact information, if you do need to reach any members of the Charter Review Subcommittee, please contact, and it gives her address. So I guess there is a method there. If someone wanted to get to all of us, they could send it to Debbie from the site, and then she forwards it to all of us.
So it says, please contact D Ward at.
Right. Bridgewater,
Okay.
Mass.
Interesting.
So that functionally does the same thing.
Yeah.
We just have to get the word out
Okay.
because people aren't seeing the webpage. They aren't seeing the Facebook thing.
Just to back up to something we already covered, does that get added to the flyer? Right? Well, whatever email address we come up with, is that something that gets stuck on the flyer next time?
Yeah.
So it's just a way to get the word out.
I think so.
Sure, we can name it if you want, CRC, but
Yeah.
I don't have a big. The whole thing was just to respond to info. We gotta seem to
Yeah.
want a
No, it's
centralized
been a good
email.
discussion.
Yeah.
We finalize it. Some needs a motion.
I mean, it's a discussion, so we can just stop discussing it and move on. If everybody's good with where we're at, do we have we could have a motion to request a charter review committee email be created. That's another way we could resolve this.
Then we have to also agree what's gonna happen.
That everyone will receive the emails and everyone will respond.
I share I maintain my initial concerns more for that I just don't like chaos than anything else, and that's what it tends to feel like. But I think Scott won me over a bit with the gag order idea, so I think I can come around to it.
So we're gonna vote or second?
But we need a
or-
motion.
I thought you were doing the motion.
The chair doesn't make motions.
Oh,
Um,
who wants to make the motion?
You should make a motion.
I make a motion to establish a town email address called crc@bridgewatermass.org. That will be distributed by someone to all of us, and all of us can choose to respond or not respond.
What did you say the name was? CRC?
CRC,
Bridgewatermass.org.
MA.
MA.
.gov.
I think it's .gov. Yeah, I think you're
Is
right.
it .gov?
I think so.
Whatever
Whatever it is.
Whatever.
Whatever the domain name is.
The domain.
And it'll auto forward to the entire committee.
It will auto forward to the entire committee.
I'll second that motion.
So we have a motion, we have a second. We've kind of already discussed it. Is there any further discussion?
Only the reminder that if anybody's going to respond to the original person who sent the email, to respond to them and not back to the CRC email address. So it doesn't let everybody.
Yeah.
Be very mindful of open meeting law.
That's all I got for discussion.
Seeing no further discussion, I'll call the roll. Mr. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. McKinnon?
Yes.
Ms. Martian?
Yes.
Ms. Di Battista?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Blow me down, I guess.
I'll take that. I'm a yes. All right. Mental note, start quoting in individual civil rights. Okay, next item on the agenda is actually, it's my fault. It's a duplicate of A above. The community conversation after action review is kind of part of the overview of the prior community forums. Same thing, just different wording. Which brings us to.
Should we make a motion, get rid of C? I don't know if we want to do it proper or not.
Sure,
I'll make a motion to get rid of C from items of discussion, for discussion.
Second.
any discussion? All right, seeing none, it's a roll call vote. Mr. Diaz?
Yes.
Steve Battista?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. McKinnon?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Evaldi? Yes. And I'm a yes. All right. Moving on.
Who seconded that? Sorry.
Ed,
That, all right.
even by a millisecond.
Citizen survey discussion.
The citizen survey has now been released to the public. It's on the website and it's also on, I think, our page. But I do think we need to do some more. And we talked about it a little bit at the open forum. But I think we need to do a little bit more advertising on Facebook and maybe also wherever those brochures are distributed, could advertise that way. Like anything else in the town, it's hard to get everybody's attention.
Yeah.
And I know that after we receive the data, that we have a lot to discuss, so we can discuss how things work, what we're thinking about, the response from people, how we think everything should work, based upon that response. But James, what is the date for the
I believe our last meeting we said September 30th, right? Was when we would end it.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
So, so it went out the way that we had all agreed in the last meeting. And I think James did an excellent job on getting it out and doing all the work, get it out.
Looks great.
Thank you, James.
Thank you both.
And
Thank you.
thank you. I'll just grab a few more details on that too. I know last time we talked, there were some open questions, so I just wanted to give the committee an update on how we kind of resolved all that. So we did work with the town clerk's office and IT. We did do it through Google Forms. So I know there was some discussion early on whether we would have to go through Revise, which is the town's IT platform, or if we could do it in Google Forms. The good news was we were able to do it in Google Forms, which gave us a bit more flexibility. And then that is now embedded on the town's website. So it looks, really official and nice. And then just to give you a sense of what to expect from the data. So we got the town census from the town clerk's office, and we'll be able to validate everyone's response information against that. So my plan was to first do that validation. We can pull out anyone who doesn't, who isn't a resident or doesn't match. We can then scrub that identifying information from the responses, and then we could enter that into the record for one of our meetings in October. Because I want to make sure that everybody has the raw data as well as any sort of analysis we do on top of it. My plan was also to give an update, if we do have to remove any individuals from that, just giving a summary of what, why how many individuals were removed and why, just for transparency. And then I think there was one other, just a quick update on the progress so far. So we do have, at last count, we had 46 responses to the survey. I think about 16 or 18 of them actually came during the community forum. So Lindsay, thank you for adding that to the, getting that QR code together and adding that in, because I think we got some nice engagement from folks seeing it during that forum.
Oh, excellent. Interesting. That is interesting.
It's actually,
Remember the last survey we did in Townfield Center, and we got like 108 people, so 46 of it is really good.
I think I'll say that's more than I anticipated by this point. Yeah, that's good.
It's way more than I anticipated. That's awesome.
I think we got 115. We did it 6 years ago,
Yeah.
so.
And we beat it.
We're gonna work on it.
116 is the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great that that worked out that way. Where does the data go to? Are you compiling it, or where is it going to?
Yeah, so it does. It is within Google Forms. So Google Forms also has then a spreadsheet export. So it's updating in both places. So we have some of the nice, visuals and analytics that Google Forms will give us. And then we also have the raw spreadsheet data. Very happy to I'll add everybody as viewers onto that, so you can kind of keep track of it as you'd like. I held off on doing that initially because I wasn't sure for anonymity and all that, if we want to kind of keep the visibility of that low until we close the survey, or if we should share all of that with the committee now. I just didn't know if there were any sort of records rules if we started sharing it with everyone, if then we'd put ourselves in hot water of if somehow that was more visible, if that makes sense, before it's anonymized.
Can't anonymize it now, right? So we have to wait till the end, or when will it be anonymized?
Well, we can anonymize it at any point, but the problem is that and every time a new entry comes in, then that's another person's name and address that comes in, right? So our options would be, we give everyone on the committee just view access to it now, and you'll see everyone's full name and address, which, again, I don't have a problem with. I just don't know if there's any implications there. Or if you'd prefer to have it anonymized first, we could either do, the final share out at the end, after the end of September, or we could, if the committee would prefer weekly updates, we could kind of scrub them 1 week at a time and share them out. Whatever people's preference is.
Well, I want to make one comment here. I think there's a lot of indications that people want this information to be anonymous, and I think you're seeing that too, even when it comes to employees. So I'm wondering if maybe a good solution would be to do weekly updates emailed by James to you, Brad, and then distribute to us with that information by that end of that week anonymized, so that everyone will have data as it comes in, but it won't be identifiable. What do you think of that? Because I don't need to know people's names.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't either.
And I think our intention is for this to be anonymous.
I mean, no matter what, definitely we should make everyone anonymous when it comes to the citizens.
I think there's,
Especially with addresses.
So we could anonymize it once a week.
I was gonna say, I don't necessarily disagree, but I also don't know that we need it once a week at this point, right? One of the things we talked about at our last meeting was September is going to be data gathering, and October is going to be sort of data crunching. So I don't mind getting it once a week. I just don't know, is that putting, an onerous task on James to go through it and dissect it every week and then get it over to us? And what are we going to do with that data?
And Brad too.
And Brett.
Yeah.
To Ed's point too, I mean, the survey doesn't even end until September
30th.
Eric's point.
Yeah.
It doesn't end until September 30th, so do we need to do it weekly? I don't know.
Or could we use a different interval?
I think just knowing how many people have responded.
That's
That's all I need to know. Yeah. Just to make sure it continues to grow.
Grow, yeah.
So maybe that's a weekly or bi-weekly update. We got 17 more people this week or whatever it is. I don't know.
But
I
I
the
think
meetings.
it would be nice
At the meetings, yeah.
at some interval or another to get an idea. of
We're
how
going to be
people
doing meetings
respond.
every 2 weeks, right? Every bi-weekly.
So maybe at the meeting, we'll do an update
Yeah.
as to before the meeting, send out an update with this is
How many?
the date, this is how many, and this is the data so far anonymized. But have that be the interval. So at least I can see, it'd be nice to have a good view into what's happening and how people are responding.
I think there's two issues here. One is the
Yeah.
anonymizing the data. In my view, that has to happen. Right now, if it's not anonymous, people are going to be hesitant to respond. Trust is very low with the government right now.
Agreed.
It's a very contentious time, and because of that, people may be worried about voicing their opinion. The other side of it is the weekly updates on what the current results are. Whenever I'm talking about a study, updates in a public forum like that, I think are a bad idea. Because if I want a certain outcome and I see that the numbers that I want aren't coming out, then I can go out and have, my proxies get on Facebook and start, hey, everybody, you need to get out there and, check the box that says we need the snow cone machine at the senior center,
Definitely do that.
and pump up those numbers. And whether it comes, I don't think it would come from anybody in this committee, but if the data is there and it's publicly available, citizens can get it. So we need to minimize that to make sure that the results of our study are as pure as they can be. So that's my concern with getting weekly updates. I like the idea of getting maybe weekly updates on the total number of respondents. I think that's a good middle ground.
I agree.
And then we'll have plenty of time to look at the data and see what it says.
Okay.
I agree with that.
And I don't know that it necessarily needs to be weekly, but I think we just don't add meetings.
Yeah, I agree.
How many people did we
Yeah.
get since the last meeting?
I don't think it needs to be in advance. I think it's just another, just like we've been doing with the forum. We had 7, 8 people there.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about really any of the, themes or anything like that. We're gonna wait until October when we actually kind of sit down as a group and do that.
Okay.
I did want to bring up the issue that you and I were talking about. So the rest of the committee is not privy to this, but when I went through the survey, I loved it. I thought it was great. But there was one thing that concerned me, and it was, I think, maybe question 7, if that was the right number, but it was the one about the recall. And it said about the no confidence vote. And it caused me to pause because it wasn't clear to me whether we were asking the question relative to the town council, taking a no confidence vote, or the citizens, or whatever. It was just confusing to me. So I responded back to Jean and to James with that feedback. And I said, I think we need to add some clarification around the no confidence vote. And I got resistance to that. And the resistance was, well, we already voted. Can't change the content. So I felt my voice was being cut off because you didn't want to entertain my feedback. You could have called the chair and asked the chair for some guidance, but you didn't. You just said, this is it. I'm not gonna change it.
That's because we had voted on
I
it.
know
And
that,
we
and
had agreed that it would be finalized.
Right.
And that discussion is a completely separate interpretation of that question. So we had one thing that I
Gene,
said.
you don't have to explain it
No, I. you're
anymore
explaining
because it
your
was
point of
feedback
view.
I was giving to you.
Yeah.
James agreed with me initially. And he provided some clarification, which I thought was good clarification. And then all of a sudden, the door was shut.
The problem that existed is you were offering your interpretation of that question after we had already agreed that the question would be stated the way that it was, and we had also voted specifically that this would be the final version of the survey. So we can't keep going back. And when we
And
vote,
why did you ask us to test the website?
because we wanted to see if there were any technical
Well, you
issues.
didn't say
using
that.
it.
You didn't use the word technical. You said,
James sent that out.
well, did all of you test out the website, the survey?
I opened
did.
it.
Okay. I thought it was really good. I had that
Yes.
one little comment that one feedback
We
that I
can't
gave.
change a question format. that
We can
agreed
revote,
to.
we could always revote to add something to the survey. I don't know why you were so
When are we
resistant to
going
my
to
feedback.
vote?
Well, let me ask, James, you've been kind of spearheading the technical aspect of this. If we were to vote to change language in one of the questions, can that language be changed now? Past the point of no return.
Where are we?
No, it can be easy.
So I would just, to answer that, and then just to give a little bit of context too. So we can make changes. The concerns, so there are just two things I would think about if we consider making changes. One is, do we change the integrity of the question in a way that someone who would receive the survey earlier and someone who receives it after is going to maybe shift their response because of that? Because if we're going to do that, I think we just need to really consider that, whether, when we do data analysis, are we essentially putting out two surveys? The other thing we need to consider is, does it change any of the ordering of the number, that's just more of a technical issue, but does it change the ordering or any of the results we get? So it is, technically feasible if we want to make changes. I think we just need to have a discussion. And then just to provide, some context from my perspective. So if I understand my language might have not been very clear in the email. My intention was, if we see any sort of errors or kind of, oh, hey, this is breaking for me, or when I put in this input here, it's not, working somewhere. I initially did and I did appreciate the feedback. I did initially think, oh, this is great clarification. I went in to make it. And then I was reminded of, when I went back and actually looked at the recording, that we did vote to go ahead, with it as voted. So that's why I decided to proceed the way I did. I wanted to make sure that we were able to get it out, on the timelines that we had shared with Tina and James in IT, and to make sure that we got it out in time for the forum. So that was at least my perspective and proceeding the way that I did.
The other issue, is that your interpretation is definitely not how I interpreted that question. And therefore, it would have required a vote because your interpretation was 100% different than the intention that I perceived for that question.
Case in point. Then.
Yeah, but that
my
case
point
in-
was right, because
No, but the problem is that was not necessary. If we added your tax, first of all, it wouldn't have been voted on.
what?
If we added the tax that you wanted, first of all, it wouldn't have been voted on by this group who had already agreed. And we had also agreed in our last session that we would not do any additional changes to the survey and that they were ready to go out. And I asked you to honor that because that is what we voted on. Yes, we voted on it in the last.
Is it cast in concrete forever? I mean, we can't. I'm just so frustrated with that whole thing.
Well, we did vote that we would send out the surveys the way that they were, the way that we had discussed them at
Right,
the
we
last
voted
meeting.
on the content.
We did vote on the
Right.
content, and we did vote that each group would be able to move forward, like you and I with the stakeholder stuff. But I don't know that we can never make a change either. So I would be interested in hearing a reminder of what the current language is as written and what Ed's suggestion is to further the conversation.
And I can read it to you.
And I would also just comment too that I guess moving forward too, and maybe this is a motion that we need to make and have a conversation with, that if there is anything in the future that happens like this, that it's always brought in front of all of us.
Right. If I was in your shoes, what I would have said was, we're going to hold off the release until we have a meeting with the group and talk about it. What was so urgent about having to get it out on that
We just
specific
got
date?
46 survey results as a result of being able to advertise.
But we knew we were having a meeting tonight. Couldn't have waited till tonight to
No.
vote on it? Why not?
Because we already voted and finalized it. You had the opportunity to vote back at that time.
We still have the opportunity.
The
So let me read the
Some
email.
discussion.
Let me read the email I got back. Thanks so much, Ed, for your feedback. I'm glad it worked smoothly for you because I complimented them all. I'm really happy how it turned out. Google Forms will give us some great data analysis. You bring up a good point about the clarity of the no confidence concept. I'll add a brief explanatory copy to the question, something like this. Should Bridgewater's charter contain a recall provision based on a no confidence vote? That was the question. He added, this provision would enable the town council to remove town officials through a vote of no confidence. It clarifies what the question is about. Doesn't change what the question is. It just provides some clarification on it. I
Okay,
didn't think that was a big deal. I think it was going
All right.
to add value.
let me stop you, because from my point of view, a recall is not something the town council would vote on. In fact, setting that up to say that the town council would vote on it instead of the voters of Bridgewater would vote on a recall is a major, major.
Right.
And
It doesn't say, the question doesn't say the voters.
I know. What I
You can
said to
interpret it many
you,
different ways.
what
then.
I said to you is once we have data from the voters, we can decide what the process is going to be. I also told you that that basically that we had this is getting so contentious that it's I don't think it's fair to us for you to bring up this point after we all voted and agreed this was a final version of the survey. I also don't think it was a minor point of clarification. I think it was a move in the direction of putting the control over to the town council instead of the citizens of Bridgewater. And if from my point of view, if we have an election, if we elect officials in Bridgewater and we have a no confidence vote that somebody wants to have, it should be the voters of Bridgewater that decide that, not
Why
the
doesn't the
town
question
council.
say that? But why doesn't the question say the voters?
Because we weren't going into that level of detail at this
But
point.
it can be interpreted many different ways. The way the question is currently written in the survey, it can be interpreted voters, or it can be interpreted somebody else.
Yeah,
That was my point. It's not clear to somebody. It wasn't clear to me when I
From
filled
my
it out.
point of view, that is a discussion we would have after we got feedback from people as to whether or not they thought a recall vote should, or a recall should be allowed on the basis of no confidence.
Did we, and I'm going from memory, so Brad, Lindsay, maybe you guys can help me out. We touched on this at the last meeting when we talked about this question, didn't we? As far as should it be a vote of council? Should it be a vote at the ballot box? Did we talk about this at all to some degree? James, I see you nodding your head.
Yeah, we did. And since, I just want to clarify too, since my email was read in, that was what I initially responded. And then when I went back and looked at our last meeting, because I hadn't remembered all the details. You're spot on, Ed. So, Eric, I'm sorry. That we had voted to move the content forward, and then we did have a discussion about part of the reason we didn't include more contextual information was that we thought that would then go, if that was a recommendation we made, that we should have a no confidence vote, that then it would be up to the town council to really hammer out the details with the public. So that was at least, when I went back and rewatched the tape, that was what I perceived out of it. I don't know if others perceived differently, but.
Can we, just to kind of go back to the beginning here and just kind of clarify some things, can we make a motion, or can I make a motion just moving forward so this doesn't happen again? And nothing against you or you, right? But just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Let's make a motion that if there is any further, I don't even know how to describe this motion. But if one of our committee members have concerns outside of these four walls of this meeting, and it's brought to another committee member, that we discuss it here instead of just closing the door. I don't know how to describe. I don't know.
But the thing
I
is,
should have formalized this thought more, but
Well, before we talk about it, let me second Lindsay's motion then.
What exactly is?
the motion is to bring everything forward to the committee members if anyone has any further suggestions that are outside of the meetings. Is that better?
you can bring it forward to us. We're already doing that. But I don't think it's fair to be able to, when we made a vote that said we all agree that this is final and it's fine to move forward, for somebody to then want to change something without anybody else knowing that they're requesting that change, asking us to do it after we voted on the final version of a document.
But you asked each of us,
We
To
did not
test-
ask you to change content.
you asked us to test the survey.
The council does that all the time too. They approve something and then a month later they amend. So if this doesn't happen, just out of this group.
So I did what I was asked to do. I tested the survey and I found something that concerned me.
Yeah, but it's not something that we could put in because it was your opinion of
Oh
what
my
should happen.
goodness.
But it
So
was-
I'm one of the members of the committee. My opinion doesn't count?
No, but your opinion would have to be discussed with the rest of us.
Right, but you
And
shut the door and wouldn't let that happen.
because we had already finalized the survey and voted to that effect. And this discussion, even the contentiousness now disturbs me.
I mean,
Well-
it's discussion of said survey, which means we can make amendments or changes since we're still discussing it. Even
No,
though
but it's already out.
That even though it's already out, doesn't mean we can't change it. We're discussing it right now. We can still make amendments. This is like the council approving something, sending it into rules and procedures, and then they change it and it goes back. It's not,
Then you have data that doesn't match.
what do you mean we have
Yeah,
data? That-
data
Because you
just-
clarify a question.
Well-
We're not changing the question. He just wants to clarify it from what I'm getting. My input from Ed is he wants to clarify it.
He wants to clarify it, that the control over a no confidence vote would be the town council.
No, I don't. I
Well,
didn't provide that.
but you
I didn't provide that language. James did. I didn't provide that.
So Ed, what would
What was
your
your
suggestion?
comment?
I don't know. I wanted to know what you were getting at in that question. Was that the citizens? Or was it the town officials? Or was it the town council? Where was the no confidence vote gonna come from?
May I make
You,
a sug-
you said in your email that the other, that I'm working from memory here, the other recall procedures all were voted on by the town council and were controlled by the town council. And that makes sense, actually, when you think about what those recall procedures are. They're all about drugs and alcohol and so on and so forth. But we had also mentioned in our other meeting that we were going to
The recall is a citizen thing. It's not a town council.
I
thing.
agree. But what the change that was being made it look like the town council would decide if a recall of another candidate should occur.
So if I'm understanding this, there is interest in getting clarification on the question, but not specifically putting it on the town council for that responsibility.
We're changing the question
Or
itself.
changing the
It's
question.
just adding something that clarifies what the question is asking.
So how does the question read? Do we have the
I
exact?
have it.
Yes, it says, should Bridgewater's charter contain a recall provision based on a no confidence vote? Period. That's what it says.
And what could we add to clarify the intent of that?
I think we need to identify what the intent is. Because as far as the substance of the question, I agree with Ed. I don't know what that question is asking. A no confidence vote in who? The town manager, the town council, an
Just say
individual town
elected
council?
officials, that's what it's meant to
So I have in
Then
my
why didn't it
notes
say
here from before, which I clearly missed when I was reading it, but we were supposed to add in of elected officials.
I do remember we had that conversation, because we talked about it would not only apply to the council, but it would also apply to the town clerk.
Yeah.
And there are like 2 or 3 others.
So it was supposed to
Yeah.
read, should the Bridgewater Charter contain a recall provision of elected officials based on a no confidence vote?
And that I have no problem with. But what was being added made it look like the town council would basically control whether or not there would be a no confidence.
And I didn't add that, James.
And that's the importance. of it.
And just because my name is like I just want to I was trying to workshop it with you in a one-on-one email, so I just want to I
I don't mean,
didn't promise.
James, James, I thought you and Jean had come to some agreement on what that definition was and that you were responding in that way. So whatever, I mean,
You know, and I apologize. I didn't intend to project that. So I apologize that my response wasn't clear.
So I'm fine with changing the question to include that information because I think it's important. But the question to me now goes back to something that James already said. If we change that question, are we now invalidating 46 prior responses?
I don't think so, because
I think what we do is,
I think
this
that's
was the
very.
point I was gonna bring up, is for those 46 responses, we put an asterisk.
Flag it was before that change.
So we know those responses came in before the change. And that just gives us information as we review the data.
Well, I will say, Tracy, and remind me, Dad, and Brad, oh, they reminded me of my grandparents.
Janet, it's not a public forum.
Muted, muted. It's back on.
It's not on the agenda, but we can do another public comment at the end. I'll make a motion for that at the end. Because normally we do have it at the end. It's not on this.
I'll retract my motion.
Well, I'll make a motion then that we revise the current citizen survey to add the language that Lindsay had just read. And Lindsay, maybe you can help me out
Sure.
with that.
Do you want me to-
To be included in the survey, but to Scott's suggestion, we identify those responses that came in before that change was made, just so we can distinguish between the two.
I'll second.
That's completely fine, but that's not what was being suggested.
Well, that's why we're discussing it here as a
Yeah.
group, so that we can put our minds together and come up with a solution that works. I understand your point. We voted on something, we were moving forward. Ed, I see your concern with the question. I share that concern. I think this resolved both issues.
Well, there were two issues. One issue was clarifying the question. The other issue was the door closed, and I was not allowed to do anything as far as moving this forward because Gene kept telling me, we can't do it. We can't do it. The vote's been taken. We can't do it. Okay, then why did I even test the survey? If you were looking for feedback, why did I even do it? Period. You don't need to
I
respond.
already told you.
I know.
I already told you several times.
I'll second that motion.
It's already been seconded.
As part of the discussion, Lindsay, can you just read that language one more time so we are aware?
So, and this was agreed upon last time, just FYI, and we had all missed it in the survey, but it should now read as, should the Bridgewater Charter contain a recall provision of elected officials based on a no confidence vote?
Yes, that's right.
I do have a comment here. We have gone through several discussions in this meeting where we have agreed that we will do this or that. Okay? And then I have watched members of this committee, and this includes you, Ed, do the exact opposite. And that's really strong feedback for you. And I have been kind enough not to bring this up, but now I'm going to. We had all agreed that we would not go on Facebook and we would not discuss charter matters. But you went on Facebook with a huge long post with your opinion on the form of government. I think that was, given the fact that you had made the original suggestion that we do not discuss charter matters on
Mr. Chair, I'd like to
Facebook.
make a
You
motion
did
to
that.
start discussion.
What we had talked about was not posting anything about the CRC on Facebook.
Neither of these are relevant to the motion.
So that had nothing to do with what I posted on Facebook. That was
No,
clearly
but
my
you
own
had
personal.
said,
All right,
you had
let's get
said
this
that
meeting
we
in
should
order.
not
Right,
focus
as a
on
committee,
Facebook.
All right.
as a committee sharing information on Facebook. That's what I said.
You even mentioned that you were on the
You two can take this up after the meeting. Neither of this conversation has anything to do with the motion at hand. Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Brad, can you read the motion just to get us back?
The motion that Eric Hughes made was to I'm sorry, I was reading the wrong thing. To change the language to should the charter contain a recall provision of elected officials based on a no confidence vote.
Good.
That was seconded by Ed Walden.
Thank you. I will begin by calling the roll.
Just one comment on that, it also to include that we distinguish between those responses that were already provided
Yes.
prior to the revision. But based on that, follow me first.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Ms. Batista?
Yes.
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 Mr. McKinnon, Mr. Welsh,
Yes.
Mr. Evoldi?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. All right, motion passes. All right, moving on, we're on key stakeholder survey.
I know Brad has, since the last meeting, spearheaded all of the interviews so far. So Brad, you want to get a quick
So I
update?
have got most of the interviews done. Like I said, a bunch of people weren't here. I sat with Boyce and Laurie Girini for probably an hour and 15 minutes. And honestly, I was surprised. None of them really had any issues with the finance part of it. One recommendation that someone else did make, I brought up to both of them and they both could get behind it. And it was that the finance committee becomes, we get rid of the counselor subcommittee of the finance committee and have a finance committee with 3 counselors in it and 6 citizens, 2 appointed by the town council, 2 appointed by the town manager, and 2 appointed by, what did I miss?
Town
Clerk, yeah. And that was probably the biggest thing I've gotten so far. A few people did comment about the size of the council. No one really brought up changing the government. That's one thing I know wasn't a question, but I talked to people for more than just the questions,
Mhm.
just to get input on everything. And there are still interviews that need to be done for sure, but most of them, there wasn't really much change wanted. The biggest one so far was that finance one, when it comes to that committee.
And I think most of what's left is fire, police.
Fire, police, planning board, ZBA, Parks and Recs, and then the counselors.
The counselors.
Are we going some lower levels too, like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Jolie,
Yeah.
I talked to her.
How about
People in
Steve
finance.
Solari?
Steve Solari, I sat down and talked to him for about 20 minutes that day.
How about what's his name?
HR I didn't hit yet
The
either.
guy down at the transfer station.
I did not go to the
He would
transfer
be a good
station.
guy to talk to.
Harry or the other
No,
one?
Harry's gone. Rick.
Conroy.
Rick, yeah. Talk with him, because he gets, obviously, he gets stuff from
Oh, yeah.
all over the
Yeah, no,
town.
Rick's a good guy. I know him and his son, so I'll talk to him. Sure.
So we should be able to have these mostly wrapped up.
Yeah, this will be done before September 30th, without a doubt.
Oh, absolutely. And now,
Maybe even before next week.
I know, I think you had mentioned that some people were not available, so you left the physical paper
Yep.
copy with those?
Yep, I did.
Okay, cool. And we have a box at the town clerk. How are we getting those back?
I told anyone that wasn't able to talk to leave it with them,
Okay, great.
Great.
Then you and I can coordinate, we'll
Yep.
tag team the rest
Sit
of these guys and get it done.
Yep.
Cool.
Pretty simple with that. I mean, I could give more data, but I don't even have the papers with me today, to be honest with you. But the one thing I will say, a lot of people want to be anonymous. I said that before the meeting, but I'm just gonna say that publicly, that a lot of people did want to be anonymous in the candidates.
And like I said, I think that is indicative that that's data in and of itself.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure, it is.
yeah,
But besides that, the interview should be done probably before the next meeting.
Right.
sounds great.
Me and you, we can sit down somewhere, go over all the information.
Yeah, we'll grab a coffee and
Yeah.
dissect it all.
Yeah.
And I will say, just credit where it's due, Brad spearheaded all these interviews. So
Alright.
thank you.
Good
I
job,
know
Bill.
half the people, so they don't mind my smile. Sometimes I bring a smile on their face with my comments, so that's what it's all about.
All
A
right.
couple did ask when I was coming back to the council, I said, I'm all set.
Then they've done that, right?
All right. Anything else on key stakeholder survey?
Nothing from my end.
All right. Moving on, setting future meeting dates.
Look at it.
It's,
So this is our last schedule, correct?
Yes.
yes,
It should have been due twice a month, right? Or every 2 weeks.
It's gonna be the goal.
Because some months at 5 weeks, so, 2 months.
So like the 9th and the 23rd of September?
Like the 23rd is, looks good to me.
What day are we still thinking Wednesdays?
Keep
Yeah.
same bat channel, same.
Just can't be the first Wednesday of September. That's opening night for the Patriots, all right?
Yeah, so the 9th would be the second Wednesday.
I won't be here on the 23rd, just FYI.
Oh, that's why you offered.
Yeah.
Will you be remote or are you unavailable entirely?
TBD. It depends. We're going to Yellowstone, so
Oh.
if I have service, maybe, but
Yeah, don't have
most
service.
likely
Please
not.
okay.
But-
All right, so we're saying 9th, 23rd, and do we want to look ahead to October and say the 7th and the 14th?
Well, that's two back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, 7th and the 21st, excuse me.
I think question, if we do the 23rd, if we close on like the survey and everything on the 30th, is that gonna give people enough time to like gather everything separately, or do we want to push it to the 14th and 28th?
Well, given where we are with things, September 9th would be before our next community forum. Does it make more sense to go the 16th and the 30th and then jump 2 weeks from there? Right?
Point.
Yeah.
You really want me in this room, don't you?
I got it help for you. No, but does it make more sense to do the 16th, so it's after the forum, the 30th, so we're closing data that day, and then we go to the 14th, and 28th, y'all can bring me a cake, 'cause it's my birthday.
Nice. Now we're getting.
You know, my birthday.
Slept on it.
What's that yelled at?
14th and 28th.
So
I like this.
September
Sense.
16th and 30th, right?
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
And then
Because I feel like if we come to 9th, we're not going to have a whole lot to talk about because we're still gathering data.
Yeah.
in 10/28.
So is the idea on the 30th, we'll probably talk about the listening sessions and the community forums, and then in October, we'll focus on the survey.
I think so. All right, the 16th will basically be a recap of the community forums and maybe where Brad and I have gotten with interviews. The 30th, we can kind of get an update on how many responses we got, although we want to data crunched. And then we can go to work crunching data.
Yes, I know for the community forums, Lindsay and I were talking about taking all the transcripts and getting general themes and how many times was this thing talked about? How many times was that
Yeah.
talked about? How many times were they the same person at different events bringing up the issue, or
Mhm.
were they discrete people? And getting sort of that analytics in there and bringing that into the meeting so that we can all look at that and say, okay, this is.
And if we're going to have a fourth forum, maybe between the 16th and the 30th might give us time to work that in somewhere too. So it's a little bit more separated.
Well,
Yeah,
so I'd like to make a motion to set the next meetings as September 16th, September 30th, October 14th, and 10/28. And then I'll open for a second for this.
Take a second.
Right, so
there's
there's
a motion in a second.
And then just quick discussion on there. So I did just want to flag for transparency. Wednesdays are pretty tough with me for work, so I can continue coming virtually, but it'll be pretty tough for me to get there in person. As long as no one minds, I'm happy to do that.
We get to have your face on the screen.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry in advance, but yeah, you'll get to enjoy this.
One behind the screen, come on.
Star of YouTube.
Yes.
You're a fall guy.
Any further discussion? All right, start the roll call vote. Ed,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
I'm a yes, all right. Good.
You want to do the citizens forum?
Yes, can we,
Go ahead and move it.
yeah, if you would.
I make a motion, we reopen public comment.
Second.
All right, a motion a second, any further discussion? Eric,
Yes.
Jean,
No, no discussion. I mean, yes, there you
Lindsay,
Yes.
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Ed, yes, and I'm a yes. Okay, public comment. Any members of the public wish to speak?
Just raise your hand if you want to speak.
No comments from Mr. Lindy. Thank you for attending.
It's Mark, Janet, Pat.
I'm prepared to show.
Mark wants to speak on.
Mark actually has just a thumbs up.
Well, he made a comment, no comments.
Yeah.
No. All right, seeing none,
Motion to close it.
no motion to adjourn.
So made.
Second. Motion to adjourn in a second. Mr.
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. McKinnon? Yes. Marshall?
Yes.
Stephen takes that.
Yeah.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
We're adjourned.
Sure.
Up for 8:30.
Right. My bedtime's in 5 minutes. What do you think? Oh, man.
Yeah, Eric, I'll reach out. This real bit.
Yeah, I just had a busy the last couple of days, so I wasn't.
Audio
Yeah,
is still on. Thank you, Mark. Like I said, I'm glad. Yeah, skills, yeah. I mean, well, have a good night.